Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. My name is Henry. Thank you for joining this webinar to discuss transferring your certification over to NQA. So going into the presentation today is going to be around sort of 20 minutes webinar, just talking about transferring your certification over to NQA. There is a questions option, so please do feel brave and ask some questions in the questions chat box, and I'll pick these up at the end and try and get through them. This is a recorded webinar, so if you do need to pick this up at a later date, or if you have any queries that you want to ask further on down the line, then there will be the opportunity to get in contact with me following this webinar. So about myself, I am a business development manager for NQA. I joined the company back in 2020 amid the COVID crisis. My role includes discussing ISO certification with a range of job roles within a variety of sectors, either who are brand new to ISO certification and have been tasked with implementing a management system within their company, or with an existing client who is looking to either extend their existing scope to include new offices or locations or new business activities, or failing that, I speak with people similar to you all today who already have certification but are looking to transfer over to NQA for a number of different reasons, which we'll go into further down the line. So today we're going to be talking about reasons to consider transferring certifications, the process involved with transferring, the timescales associated, the cost, and lastly, why you should choose NQA. So reasons for transfer, if we look at that first, generally speaking, what we tend to find is that there are normally a number of reasons for transferring from an existing certification body to another. One of the reasons being poor service, so potentially you didn't receive the level of service you were expecting when you originally signed up with the certification body that you're with. Maybe they've outsourced their back office function and audit schedules and the audit reports are taking longer to arrange and to produce. It may be that you're receiving a downturn of service from being with the certification body for a number of years and you no longer feel like a valued customer. To be honest, this tends to be the majority of clients that we see move across, especially to NQA. The level of service, so you might have been receiving a higher level of service, getting more interaction with your certification body. Maybe your auditor has changed or there's been some issues in relation with that. Level of communication might be on a downward spiral and you're just not getting that level of communication that you're used to. Consistency of auditor is always a challenge to maintain and have the same auditor throughout your time period with a certification body. Obviously, there are aspects where people come and go from organisations, but the ideal scenario would be to have the same auditor year on year to enable them to have an understanding of your organisation and your company goals. And obviously the approach to certification. So a number of certification bodies have different views on certification, whether it be deemed a tick box exercise or you feel the audit duration is too long and how they approach this. And again, this will be something that we talk about in more detail as we go on. Retendering, so this is more sort of for the larger clients or larger companies, especially in the public sector, who need to go through that tender process. If for whatever reason internally there is a review for your outgoing expenditure, which a lot of companies have gone through recently, namely 2020, especially with COVID crisis straining on companies' finance, meaning value for money through the supply chain is of high importance, then naturally tenders will take place and you'll look to move for a number of different reasons, such as price and the service. Changes in your organisation, so it might be that you've become a larger organisation, could have been through a number of key acquisitions, which have increased number of employees and number of sites. Potentially growing to a global organisation now, which retenders are essential for that process as this affects durations and pricing. And finally, multiple ISOs, so different certification bodies. You know, you would be shopping around for the best deal, look at the top three, going out to market to see who's the most competitive in terms of pricing and indeed finding out what the service level agreements are. You can find different auditors with different auditor approach. So for example, at NQA, we like to use NQA employed auditors as opposed to freelance. Main reason being the NQA auditors are trained by ourselves and therefore match our flexible and collaborative approach to auditing, which you can't always guarantee from auditors not directly employed. Again, integrated management system, so understanding you have more than one standard. the big three being the majority of what we see, so your quality management, environmental and health and safety, so 9, 14 and 45. Looking at integrating these management systems all into one certification body to see a real saving in audit duration, duplication, workload and price. It's something that NQA proactively do. We upskill auditors to cover as many standards as possible. So how do you transfer to NQA? It's a straightforward process. A lot of the companies I've personally spoken with in the past almost fear the transfer process, as they believe it to be a lot more complex than it actually is. They might be partway through their cycle or due their recertification, so thinks that there is no good time for the transfer. Ultimately, the first step is to get in touch with NQA. You can send an email or call or even through our website. What we'll do is we'll request some information. So we'd like to see a copy of the existing certification that you have to ensure that it is valid with the UCAS accredited certification body. We'll review the most recent audit reports up to and including the last recert that took place. We'll also get an understanding of where you are in relation with any non-conformances, NCs, so any existing or open minors or majors, and if you have you put corrective action plans in place to close them out? Has your existing certification body accepted these yet? Just so we can understand exactly where you are with your certification cycle. Then what we'll do is we'll send out a quotation based on the information you've provided. If all is well and you're happy with the quote, the next step will be signature for the quote, agree to transfer, and then we'll look at the actual physical transfer of the audit, which can be carried out a couple of ways. Firstly, if there are no outstanding NCs, then we complete a off-site remote transfer based on the information that you've provided, depending on the number of standards, but usually this can be completed remotely in under a day. If there are any outstanding non-conformities which you don't wish to close out with your existing certification body for whatever reason, then NQA can inherit these and complete an on-site transfer where we will attend the site to close out the NC and successfully transfer from there. It's a good way to meet your auditor ahead of your next surveillance and research visit, and to be honest, it gives the auditor an idea of the company and process to help build that relationship. Again, depending on the number of non-conformances and severity, but this is likely to be a one-day visit, our standard day rate. So once we're happy that you are who you say you are and you do what you say you've been doing and the certificates that you wish to transfer are all in date, all the information is accurate, we'll then issue you with an NQA certificate. And once you've received that, we will then take on your audit schedule for the coming year and for the rest of the certification cycle. So the important question, how much will it cost, time and money? So how long will it take? As I've said, it's an extremely easy process. It obviously will depend on the size of your organization. If you're a very small organization, you know, under 100 employees, single site, simple business processes, then it is a really simple activity to take place. If you're a large multi-site organization, then it may take a bit longer, but it wouldn't take an auditor more than one day to review the reports and certificates and then to carry out the transfer for certification. So it says there it could be less than a week. It absolutely definitely will be. This will have an impact on when your certificate expires. So if your certificate was due to expire in a month, then you're probably a bit late to be transferring. We would look to try and be as helpful as we can, but ultimately at that stage, you're probably in a position where it's best to continue with your current certification body for your research and then look at the transfer afterwards. This is the best option just because it's going to avoid cancellation fees. You don't want to be caught out with them, as well as added admin on your part. So realistically, you'd want to give a sort of a 3-month window before the transfer. Looking at the cost itself, again, this will vary depending on the size of the organisation, as mentioned earlier, also the number of standards that you're transferring across. The full proposal, which we'll submit, would ensure that every area is covered within that, the accurate duration and costs for ongoing audits, and how much that's going to be moving forward for the rest of the cycle. Right, so who are NQA? As you can see, we're a global certification body. We're actually owned by a large American company called NTS, and they are leaders in the testing and inspection industry. We have a large number of standards that we certify to, covering a range of management systems. We've been around for 33 years now. We have over 1,000 employees globally with 50,000 active certificates. Looking at the UK, this breaks down to just over 100 employees with 12,000 active certificates. We have an average partnership of over 10 years, which when you consider the certification cycle is 3 years, you can see that there's a high retention of clients there. This is also backed up by a net promoter score, which is a metric calculating the likelihood that a customer will recommend a company or product to a colleague or friend. The range is between -100 and +100, and NQA is sat currently at 70, which is the highest within our industry. Our core standards, as you'd imagine, in the UK are the typical 9, 14 and 45, as well as 27001. Given the recent pandemic, we have seen a large increase in 27001, which is obviously information security. With more and more people working from home, InfoSec has become high in importance. As a response to this, we've recruited a gentleman called Tim Pinnell, who is our information security business unit leader. He has a really strong background in information security, working at BT for over 20 years, covering roles such as Chief Security Officer and Data Protection Officer. Another standard we've seen an increase in is PAS 2060. It's a standard around carbon neutrality. It obviously is high on the agenda worldwide with global warming and climate change taking effect. Companies such as yourself are now looking at how they can reduce their carbon footprint to make the world a cleaner place. This standard has picked up huge momentum. And we've received a high number of inquiries from a large range of industries, and then different size companies around how NQA can verify them to this standard. So looking at this infographic, in the US, we are number one in the number one certification body in the aerospace sector with some extremely high level clients there, as you can imagine. We're also number one in China in the automotive sector by a long stretch, and we're the global number one certification body in the telecoms and automotive sector. So the certification services and training that we offer are on the basic standards mentioned earlier, as well as 50001, which is energy management, 22301, which is business continuity, which is a really nice follow-on from the information security 27001, 13485, which is medical devices, IATF for automotive and aerospace standards. All of our training services are available both face-to-face or online. Obviously, we have had to make all our training online recently due to the pandemic, but we've seen a high number of successful remote training for our clients. So nationwide training services for all our existing clients. We also offer completely free e-learning services. So however many employees you have in your organization that you wish to upskill, we offer for free. Even if you're not an existing client, it's really not an expensive option, and they are really good courses. Most of the NQA team have taken the course as part of their induction, including yours truly. We offer in-house training as well. So if you have, let's say, 5 to 6, up to 10 employees in your organization you feel would benefit from a training course, whether it be implementation of a particular standard, internal auditor, or even to lead auditor level, we would arrange one of our trainers to visit you on your site to deliver the requested training. Finally, we have public training courses as well. So we run these courses in hotels across the UK. Again, we've had to sort of take our foot off the gas on that recently. So it's been conducted remotely. But this year we are getting back to providing in-person training. If there are any bits of further information that you'd like to look over, you can find all the training courses on the NQA website. So as mentioned, NQA have got a net promoter score of 70 across the industry. The industry standard is actually 43. So you can see that we have the highest NPS among our competitors. This is based on our customer service and the level of service we provide holistically. We have a high retention rate of clients also, as mentioned in the previous slide, of over 10 years. We find that clients stay with us for a long time, and we lose clients to, it's more to sort of liquidation or not actually needing the certification anymore, rather than losing out to other certification bodies. And again, this is based on our level of service that we provide. NQA's experience promise, which is a fundamental part of our organisation and is something that we take great pride in, is we promise to update you on industry changes. So this will be done via webinars or the NQA website, which is something we believe is of good benefit to our customers and not something that you necessarily see from other certification bodies. We promise our experience will add value to your audit schedule. So when you have an auditor come out to audit you, we'll try and make sure that you're getting the best experience possible. You're working with the auditor to make sure that you have a friendly and approachable process. Some companies fear auditors and are concerned about them coming out to visit them and picking faults within their business. However, the way we approach is much more of a continued improvement for your business and highlights potential improvements for a better business and better organisation. I suppose it's a bit cliche, but we position ourselves as an extension to your business to be approachable and to drive that improvement. We make sure that all of our fees are all inclusive, so there are no hidden fees within the contracts, no additional management fees, admin fees, no travel costs within the UK. That's all included in the price, and we're very clear with what we charge and how we charge it. All the information with the terms and conditions are on the quotes letters that we submit. You'll also be updated with any changes that should happen over the course of each year, so well in advance of it happening. We also ensure that all our auditors are technically competent for your industry. We employ auditors from a range of different environments and different sectors to ensure we have the best knowledge base we possibly can, which means that when the auditor comes out to your business, they have a good knowledge of your industry, they'll speak industry language, they understand the pain points and where the risks might be to improve your auditing experience. We'll provide access to our customer portal, which is a system that's currently being built in the background, which will give our clients an opportunity to review their certification, audit reports, non-conformances, and any action which needs to be taken on those. So it will give you more flexibility to deal with things directly yourself rather than having to rely on phoning someone or waiting, for an email to come through. So what makes us the partner for you? What can you expect from NQA is a practical and common sense approach. We try to be particularly approachable company in that we are very responsive. We pride ourselves on being quick to get back to you. If you need help, guidance or advice, we're at the end of the phone or an email and we'll get back to you very quickly. We offer a comprehensive service because, as mentioned, we can offer you a number of different standards. We can offer you a range of training courses, including the free learning for our existing clients, as well as public and in-house courses covering nearly all the standards that we offer. As well as that, we also offer any technical advice. So there is an e-shot that goes out every month with any update or changes to a particular standard. So for example, 18,000 to 45,001 and the upcoming changes to 27,001. If any advice, any advice on migration and how best to manage that transition. And this information will be readily available for you and sent out to you as an existing client. The support we provide, so assessors and the continuity, the integrated management system assessors. So if you have 2 or 3 standards that you have within your organization, we'll aim to have one auditor come out to assess all standards for you, opposed to having 3 auditors is a benefit to you, and it will come out as a reduction to cost. A lot of our auditors are trained to the 9, 14 and 45, which are the most common standards we see. Also, expert webinars. So we have a lot of extremely qualified people, as mentioned earlier, like Tim, who do these webinars, who have a very strong level of background knowledge and understanding of the industry. So whether it be at the moment, as mentioned, particularly 27,001, the people who perform these webinars are industry experts and they understand fully what they're talking about and what they're discussing in these webinars. And you can get a lot of strong takeaway information from these. We also will offer a lot of free guides, free information, which can all be found on our website. So for example, if we take 27,001 again, we offer a free implementation guide to support you through that. Obviously, as a certification body, there is a line. We offer a high level of assurance, so we are limited to how much we can help that we can give you in order to remain a third-party, unbiased, external assessor. So we provide information based on the audits that we have done, the information we have to hand, and support you where we possibly can. Just going back to PAS 2060, it's an area that NQA are particularly focusing on. We're currently running monthly 2-day training courses on the introduction and implementation of this standard, which has been really well received and is proving a great help to our clients who are implementing this important standard. Again, all the relevant information about the course, the booking dates and the prices are available on our website, so do feel free to take a look, and if you have any further questions, you can reach one of our sales team through the web chat inquiry form or telephone, and they'll be happy to help. So that concludes today's webinar on transferring certification. I told you it was fairly straightforward. I hope you have found it useful. If anyone has got any questions, then please do feel free to put them into the question box and I will answer them as best as I can. What I'll do is I'll give it a minute and see if anything comes through. If you don't have any questions now, which is always the way, you think of a question afterwards, you can reach out to me on my email, which you can see on the screen now, or my direct line. I'll be happy to help. Okay, so it doesn't look like we've got any immediate questions. Like I said, do take a note of my email address and my phone number. You can, like I said, you can reach out to me at any time. Happy to help. Again, thank you very much for joining me today on this webinar, and I wish you a happy rest of the week. Thank you.